newest character that is on Hallmark Channel's When Calls the Heart. You play Joseph Canfield, along with your two kids who in real life play your kids on the show. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But how are you doing? How is quarantine life going for you?
Yeah, nice to meet you, Rocky. Yeah, you know what? We're doing all right. We're doing all right. It's yeah, a lot to wrap your head around, kind of all the different restrictions but everything is in place to keep people healthy. So you go, okay, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. Being on set is actually I don't want to say you feel safer on set, but everybody's being tested, and so there's a reassurance when you're on set that you kind of can control the environment a little bit more than walking around in real life, so
Absolutely. No, I saw in an interview that you did, your wife is doing some woodworking.
yeah.
No, listen, I'm from the Midwest, so it's been a long time since I've heard the word basement. So yes, so
Yeah.
I'm very excited for you. I'm living in my own imagination, being in your basement because listen, like I said, from the Midwest in LA, they don't have basements, so
They don't have basements. Yeah.
it's a poor. They're missing out. Like there's a lot of entertainment, situations that you can have in a basement. I don't get it, but I mean, earthquakes, obviously.
Exactly. That's part
Right.
of what I'm, what my family was in New York when I was a kid. So yeah, again, basements. So
Right. Exactly. So getting into When Calls the Heart, how did you, I know you've been with the Hallmark Channel for a little bit already before. So how did this new opportunity come about with When Calls the
yeah,
Heart?
yeah, it came to me, and I saw Joseph Canfield, and I saw, that he has a family, and it's it's an interesting thing because, again, I've been part of the Hallmark family for a while. And so, yeah, there's part of me that was like, okay, yeah, I'm glad they brought this to me. I'm glad this came my way. I also felt the responsibility, hasn't been a character like this. It hasn't been a family like this. To a large degree, there isn't an intact family on the show. There's no, mother, father, kids.
Right.
That doesn't. There was for a very brief, time with Elizabeth and her husband and the little baby, but
Mhm.
not to this degree. So even just with that, we were like, there's a responsibility here to get things accurate. The fan base is I don't want to say particular, but the fan base is very involved and help shape a lot of the things that happen. And yeah, it's it's so much. It's like the fans are absolutely incredible, and given the political climate of the world, given the fact that in that time in 1918, coming into a new town, as you could, you look around, there's not a lot of black people around. Yeah, you're gonna you're gonna have very specific thoughts about how this is gonna go. um Joseph could kind of ascertain, as we always can,
Mhm.
walking around whatever year it is. He ascertains very quickly that this is a nice place. You just
Right.
you spider senses, aren't tingling. So you're like, okay, well,
Right.
here, I like it here. And we're welcomed with open arms, and there's a lot of opportunity. And Joseph, he likes that.
I was gonna say this is season 8, so people are locked in. I'm assuming that there was some pressure that would come along with it, wanting to hold up, the idea and energy of the show. But like you said, you guys are the first Black family entering into Hope Valley, which is the community there.
Yeah.
Were there any conversations that you and your castmates had? I mean, obviously, like you said, right now the climate is very intense. And I know you have a multiracial family as well, and there are so many things that are going on right now. So yeah, just falling right into it. Were there any conversations that you had with the cast, or were there any even conversations that you had with your children right now? Have conversations shifted a little bit?
Yeah, my kids are half black, half Filipino. So, they obviously the world sees my kids and they see black kids. They
Right.
see the others, they don't see what else is going on. But but that's not to say that these kids aren't that, they're they're seeing it on both sides. It's like, there's a particular way that black people get treated, and there's a particular way that Asian people are treated right now. And it's impacting us, it's impacting my kids. They are seeing the things that are going on, and it's always the same thing. It's the same questions that I asked when I was a kid, which is like, why,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Because you know who you are, and you're not doing anything. So why would somebody dislike me? It's
Yeah.
a it's a concept that kids will never be able to wrap their heads around, because kids understand I did something wrong.
Hmm.
I can see why you're upset about that. They can't conceptualize like I'm just standing here and you don't like me. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that's the first thing. The first thing was why. And and it causes them to have there's fear involved of what might happen. But I tell them, I say, understand this. Anybody who would come at you because you're black, or because they find out you're half Filipino, they're the ones that are afraid. It's not you, it's them. Anything that's driving your actions to do something to me because you see me
Hmm.
has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. If you have some sort of adverse reaction to me, unless I've done something to you, okay, fine, that makes sense. But if I'm just standing there, that's on you. So
Right.
yeah, this whole time is really about, like, we're appealing to people to speak up, say something. But it's really this, what it has to be is people have to realize that they need to look at themselves. That's
Mhm.
really what needs to happen. You got to look at you. Like, what is your reaction to this? How are you, do you, it's always a thing. Anytime a brother did anything wrong in the in the universe, people would always be like, well, he must have done something. It's like, we're here to tell you, no, you don't have to do anything. And
Right.
this is what they're seeing. This is what people are seeing with Asian people now. You don't have to do anything. You can just be standing there. And I don't. There's a lot of people that I don't think have an understanding of what that means. They
Right.
don't really get it. I
And
think, yeah, I think women do. I think as a species walking around, I think, and this is the thing that always trips me out. Women understand this intrinsically from the jump. There's a point where little boys, little girls, they don't really see the difference.
Mhm.
They're not worried about the little boy. They're gonna fight back to give them. They don't care. Like, yeah, like, what you got? Here's what I got. There's a point where society tells you you're supposed to be a certain way, and boys are blah 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 blah. And so there's that point where women start to just go, okay, I have to calculate this. I have to consider that. I have to make sure of this.
Mhm.
And there are people walking around the world who've never had those thoughts ever,
Mhm.
ever. And this is the thing. It's like the violence that happens to people that have to consider those things. It's really about, like, flip it and go, anybody who perpetrates that, anybody who does that, they have to look at themselves and go, what is this?
Speaking about your kids, though, you had an impressed moment with your daughter Vienna, who plays Angela on the show. And you said in an interview with ET that you were on the brink of tears, but you couldn't talk about it because the episode hadn't came out yet. Has the episode dropped, and can you expound on that a little bit more?
Yes, yes. The episode has dropped. That was episode number 4. So season 8, episode number 4 of When Calls the Heart is what I'm talking about, where the Canfields, so Joseph Canfield comes through in episode 2 of the
Mhm.
show, of the season. And he comes through doing his job, which is delivering packages and parcels for the railway. So he delivers a very, very big box to Lee and Rosemary, and he ends up, everybody's really, really nice. He ends up running out of gas as he's leaving town. And he goes by the gas station and sees that there's a for sale sign on the gas station. Okay, the wheels will start to turn. he then has to deal with the townsfolk when he's trying to get gas because the gas station doesn't work. And everybody he runs across is very kind, very lovely, really nice, very helpful. Jesse ends up helping Joseph get fuel in the car, and he takes off. And he really has it in his head like there's opportunity there, and it was a really nice place. So, episode number 4, Canfields move into town, and I got to watch my daughter Vienna and my son Elias uh, have their first day on set ever.
Mm.
Never acted before, and Vienna has the challenge of you know portraying somebody who is visually impaired, and that's for your first gig. That's not easy. There's so many things that you have to get right, or else it's you run the risk of upsetting somebody who loved one is
Right.
someone who loves someone who's blind, or knows somebody who has to go through that. So she did a lot of research, and we did a lot of research, and we figured out a way to make it look correct,
Mm-hmm.
and gave us a newfound respect, even more respect for anybody who has to go through that. And yes, this scene is Angela climbing up onto uh, the buckboard, which is loaded with our stuff. So we've moved from one town to another, and the piano's too heavy for Joseph to get off by himself,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's sitting up on the buckboard, and Angela climbs up onto the buckboard, takes the cover off her piano, and sits down and starts to play. And the parallel between Joseph watching his daughter, first of all, climb up onto the buckboard and then piano and not get hurt. Like we've been protecting this little girl her whole life because she wasn't always blind.
Mm-hmm.
You will come to find out what happened a little later. And so that makes parents a particular way. If someone could see and then now they can't see, depending on how old they were when that happened, it's going to make you a particular way. So Joseph is very much like, let her do it, let her try. And Minnie, played by Natasha Burnett, is very much like, no, don't, be careful, no, watch it. And we let her go. She climbs up onto the thing and she starts to play. And like I said, Joseph watching Angela is filled with pride. And there's no acting required for me because I'm watching Vienna first day do this scene. And she told me beforehand that she wasn't nervous. Like she was nervous to do it, but not nervous about the crew watching her do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not nervous about the fact it's her first day. She's comfortable. She felt so comfortable, and she felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. And yeah, so I don't need to tell you, I was like, don't cry. Don't.
Right.
1918, you're not supposed to cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. You gotta be strong. 1918. And
Right.
yeah, the look on my face, that's for real. It's 100% for real.
Did you go home and tell your wife? What did she think?
Oh, well, she was there.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. No, my wife is there. She's there. She was there every day. So it was. I say the coolest thing is Natasha is like, all right, we've adopted her into our family. So Natasha and my wife Davina clicked, and our other son Lennox, he's the middle kid. He's not quite into the game yet. He's been auditioning for stuff, but he hasn't got into the game yet. He was there as well, and so it's like a family affair. We were all watching it all go down, and just I'm so proud of them. I've been acting for over 20 years. I've been coaching actors for probably 15 years now, and I'm not being biased when I say that my kids, they just are really good at doing this, and I'm telling you honestly, this has not been something that I've been training them for a very long time. They got the part maybe 3 weeks before we started filming, and that was, you know, a little crash course in what to expect when you're on set. I
Yeah.
taught them about, you know, hitting your marks and eye lines and just the terms they might hear on set, and they just I'm just blown away because, like I said, I've seen adults walk into situations that my kids were put into and fall apart, and my kids just like nothing, makes no big deal, it's fine. They were totally relaxed.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
that's awesome, and congratulations to them as well. I have two last questions, and I'll let you go. You did get to work with a comedic icon, Eddie Murphy, on I Spy. I want to know, how do you feel about his resurgence? Like, he's back in the game now. He's talking about doing stand-ups. What
Yep.
was like? I know you said in the interview that every single take he would do was different every single time, which I thought that was. I just would like for you to speak on that.
Well, I'll say this, and I can't express this enough. Uh, my first love is stand-up comedy, which is something that I actually did. You know, when I was from 19 to like 21, I did stand-up comedy. Um, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian when I was a kid. From the age of 8 onward, that was it. That's what I wanted to do. My older brother, Richard, is actually an actor. And he was an actor long before I was ever an actor. Actually, the fun fact, my brother Richard and Peter DeLuise, who directs a bunch of these episodes, are good friends. They go way back. So I've actually known Peter DeLuise since I was about 13 years old.
Okay.
And so he's watched me grow up. So here now, my brother's always telling me, you should act, you should act, you should act. And I'm like, nah. I want to do stand-up. I was like, Eddie Murphy, that's my idol.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying when I was about 9 or 10, I was like, I'm gonna work with him one day. I'm gonna work with Eddie Murphy one day. I don't know how, but I'm going to. I am going to work with him. So the audition for I Spy comes down. This is 2001, and I was beside myself because, you know, Eddie Murphy movie. Now the character was so high up on the cast list that I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get this part. He's
Mm-hmm.
a supporting lead character in an Eddie Murphy movie. They can get anybody they want.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody. And at the time, Dave Chappelle wasn't where he is now. Anthony Anderson isn't where he was now. Like, there's so many heavy hitters that were not, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where they are now. They were coming up like I was coming up. So I was sure this part was going to go to somebody from one of the brothers that's, you know, politically knocking it out. So again, I had no illusions that there's no way I'm going to get this. But I did say, if they judge this fairly, not based on who the actor is, but what the actor is doing, I'm going to get it. No one's going to get this but me, because nobody knows Eddie Murphy like I do. Because I have studied this man. Like he studied Richard Pryor, I studied him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my mannerisms, my speech pattern, my everything was so wrapped around how Eddie does his thing that when I was actually in front of Eddie, I had to kind of catch myself because I was doing exactly what he was doing. We expressed the same way, we talked the same way. If you watch interviews with Eddie, that's what it looks like me. And I was like, oh my God, oh man, I'm like
Uh-huh.
covering my arms. I'm like, he's gonna think I'm crazy, but this he doesn't understand how much he means to me. He doesn't. There's so many people that say exactly the same thing, but he doesn't know. He is, you know, for my generation, he's the guy. He's the one who influenced all of us. And getting the opportunity to stand side by side for that dude for 4 months, and we clicked. Like, the very first thing Eddie Murphy said to me, because he approved my tape, the very first thing he said to me came up. He's like, "You're funny, brother. You're real funny." And I was like, "Well, I could die now. Eddie Murphy's told me I'm funny. Now it's like, you can never tell me I'm not funny. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Stir, put the gun down. You can't shoot people. Eddie Murphy told me I'm funny." No, I'm sorry. That's
Mm-hmm.
important. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
like, that dude, he said something to me that I will never, ever forget.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned so much just being beside him, and him ad-libbing like he does. That's how I do. That is the part of the reason why I actually got the part, is because I was able to the director Betty Thomas, she saw that I was able to roll with it. I was able to go with the riffing.
Mhm.
And yeah, that was like magic. I can't even, it's so hard to, like, when you get what you want, it's kind of crazy. I've gotten what I've wanted in this life 3 different times. One, my wife. I married the girl of my dreams. 2, we have children, which I always wanted kids. I've known I've wanted kids since I was 17 years old. And 3, I got to work with Eddie Murphy, and that's something that I wanted to do. And I still can't believe that all 3 of those things happened. Honestly, I still kind of pinch myself that that's the deal. He was super cool with me. We clicked. You know, we could see each other today, and it'd be cool because it was really, really, really amazing working with Eddie. And he's very giving. He's really quiet. Like, people don't even understand. Like, Eddie taught me to conserve my energy between takes.
Mhm.
That's why he's quiet. He's not quiet because he doesn't want to say anything. He's quiet because he's the one that has to, he's the one doing all the work. 15 hours a day, all week, 5 days a week for months, because it takes 3-4 months to film something. It's on him, and he knew it, and he told me, gave me advice. He's like because I was so excited, so I was like, action, blah, 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 say the lines, cut, talking to everybody, action. I never stopped talking ever for 15 hours, and he's like, bro, you're gonna want to contain that a little bit. I was like, no, what you talking about, man? I was only 27 years old at the time. I'm like, man, no problem. It's all good. I found out later. I came home exhausted.
I bet. No,
Exhausted.
I wish I had time to ask you about your dad, because I know you said that your dad was your first influence with comedy. So yes, I know. Well, another time. I know. I'm wish we had a little bit more time to go, but I have one last question. It's really cute and fun. It's all things Canada, but one's gotta go. Okay, the Toronto Raptors, Drake, Jim Carrey, the IMAX Theater, which was created in Canada, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Or free healthcare. One of them has to go. You got a good option.
One of them has to go? Oh,
one has to go. So Toronto Raptors, Drake, Jim Carrey, the IMAX, free healthcare.
Well, I don't want to kick anybody out. So
I know, right?
Right. And healthcare, hell no, I ain't letting that go. Especially not what's going on now. So
where's you gonna go to LA?
Yeah. No, healthcare. I wish healthcare was all over. My brother's in LA, so I wish healthcare was like it was here. No, y'all can take the theater because we ain't going to the theaters anymore. You can have that.
Okay. So right. No, I feel like that's a good one out of all of those, because I know you like the Raptors, and that's that's cool. So
like Drake, Jim Carrey's, I can't say anything bad about anybody, but yeah, y'all can take the theater. We'll see, who's gonna be there. Nobody.
Right, absolutely. Right, exactly. Until we get vaccinated for most people. Right. Exactly. Well, thank you so much. Literally, thank you so much. I know this was a little weird at the beginning because I thought it was live, but thank you so much for tuning into Where's the Buzz TV again. And tell everyone where we can follow you and look for all of your content.
Yeah, so thank you so much, let me say. On Instagram, it's at Viv Leacock, and on Twitter, same thing, at Viv Leacock. Very simple.
Awesome.
There you go.
And like I said, everybody, so When Calls the Heart is on the Hallmark Channel, 9 p.m. EST on Sundays. So yeah, again, congratulations. All of us will be tuning into the show, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, and congrats to you too.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks, Rock.
Where is the buzz?
Oh, yeah.
Where is the buzz? You said was mine.
Where is the buzz?
Ooh.